This is the debriefing video for the meeting last night on December 11th, 2023. A normal opening to the meeting, agenda minutes, all of that type of thing. When we get down to the visiting official updates, which I had not long ago, just in case multiple visiting officials are coming and trying to get multiple meetings per night, we can still hear from them somewhat. Kim's here from the county mentioned that things seem to be going oddly well, oddly smooth in the county. So everyone thought that was kind of funny, which it is. Next, we had our audit presentation, which is unique in this meeting. Usually in the fall here, sometime a little late this year. There's a bunch of stuff with that. So the audit report that the board gets, and then in the reference packet, which is posted online, I have included the full audit report too, if anyone wants to dive into that. But as Eric covers, as far as the money goes, all three major accounts that he looks at are up in money. We got in stuff a little late this year, which is why it's a little later than normal. So that's the general recap. If anyone wants more, of course, it's in there. Feel free to reach out. Next, we have first public comment. Nothing was there. Move on to our decision items. First decision item is Planning Commission member renewal for John, and that passed, so he's on there for another term. Next is Town Hall automatic door openers. Decent amount of discussion over this. We ended up approving Fisher just for the automatic door openers in the front, not for the full door replacement stuff. And so last night I signed and sent that over to them, and then I emailed an electrician about getting that aspect going too. So hopefully we can move on that in the next month or two. I know they said, a little bit of delay probably in getting in their workload when we first talked. So next we have, and it's holidays, right? So meeting and holiday schedule was next. Same thing that we discussed in the last meeting. Same schedule. A few adjustments on meetings, just of where it runs into an election or a holiday, something like that. And then the holidays are kind of the normal set, I guess. Next, we had the new cell tower contract. Decent amount of discussion on this, and even in the few days after I had the packet, I had some advice from the lawyer, from our legal counsel on issues that he saw potentially with the contract. So I given that to the board, and then I got responses from the cell tower company just yesterday in responses to our legal counsel responses. So I want to make sure that's decent because be a long-term thing for the township, but I also didn't want to push it too far down the road. So that's kind of in the middle of the negotiation process. And the board has a little more leverage because they're really the deciders of that, the decision makers, rather than just me. So I negotiated it and had them increase the money and stuff as best I could on my own. But then it was, once I got legal counsel involved, they were able to negotiate a little more and that type of thing too. So working on that, I got emails out to the cell tower company and to our lawyer last night because they wanted some things clarified and how some of the wording should change in the contracts. That was postponed until next month, so I can work all of that out, hopefully get it all together and have a finalized version ready to go. Which I emphasized with the cell tower company. I would like that, even though we're going to holidays, we'd like to move on that. Next, we have election precinct change. And this is to consolidate from 4 to 3, basically make Riley Thompson and below precinct 3. And then above Riley Thompson, there's a split between 2 precincts, 1 and 2, because you have Reese Buffer and Whitehall school districts, which have to be split up. So, and that went through, so that'll occur for the February presidential primary elections, which will also have the 9 days of in-person voting, but that's here, and then there'll be mailings on those changes as well. Next, we have scanner purchase, and this is part of ongoing trying to digitize things, but in a fairly economical way, because it's a lot to hire a company to do it. And I had some hesitations there. And so with the large documents for some of the zoning stuff, some of the building stuff, we really we can't tackle with regular scanner printer. And so this one's a bit larger through the same company we use for the regular office printer and scanner, but decent amount of money. So we that was approved just a little over $7,000, and I emailed them last night to get that underway. Next are decision items. So we had some discussion around wall murals. There was a little bit of support for it, but mostly not support for it. So probably won't move forward with that. Next, we had Parks and Recreation Committee, and I'll probably just bring this for discussion next month and decision after that. But basically, I'll write up a resolution with some details on it, see if people like the details. It'll be an advisory board. Next, we have the community center, put together some numbers, some very preliminary numbers, and wanted to know which direction people wanted to go. If there's a grant, feel free to follow up as the basic board's direction. If someone wants to get a petition, obviously I'll help get that for them, get that going, and go out and get signatures. There's an inquiry at the end, but I'll wait until public comments section on that. Next, we had budget and budget meetings. And I discussed the transfer station, should the prices go up, we're by the count last year or two. There was a sound on the computer, so hopefully that's still recording properly. About bigger items, like fluffy items with stuff, those types of things that they are charging us an extra $10 for each of those items. So I really didn't want to adjust the prices out there, but probably makes sense to be looking at it with this budget season. And then I'll get out a special meeting notice for a working session in February, specifically to go over the individual line items for the budget, but I'll also have it as a discussion in all of the next board meetings leading up to the budget, which we'll get to the annual meeting in a second, I guess, and then it'll start April 1st. Next, we have the fire department hiring panel. And so it's the process that we're going to be going through over the next couple of months for hiring firefighters, starting in the new fiscal year in April. And there'll be a panel that does the scoring for the interviews and the tests and those types of things. And there's going to be a firefighter on it, fire chief on it, fire chief coordinating it, different than our fire chief, right? So not Alan. And then one of the board members, and I want to see who was interested in that. One of the two new trustees would make sense. And they were both interested in it. So they'll arrange talking to Alan and set up how we're going to have that 3-person panel. The reason both of them can't be on is because it would end up making 4, and we don't want an uneven panel. So you can't have a tie. Next, we have the annual meeting date, and I will set up a resolution for this, and it's right near the end of March, still on a Saturday, but like is normal, and I have the specific dates, but I have it written down further in the packet here. I'll get that out, but it's like a week beforehand, so it gives us a little bit of time if we need to adjust anything after that. I don't expect anything to go wrong in the budget hearings or anything like that, but I also don't want to make it so that we can't adjust something if something does go wrong. Mikey will let you know the date right now. March 23rd. Yep. So, which is a Saturday, 1 p.m. Whoever wants to come can come. There's a meeting, an annual meeting of the electors, and so everyone that's an elector in the room can vote and override the board on getting raises, basically. And I'll propose some board raises. I don't know. Maybe not the trustees. They got a big raise a couple of years ago, which made a lot of sense. The other 3 positions, I think I'll propose a raise. But if the electors disagree with that, they come in and vote. So I think it's a good thing to have in place. And then after that, the board has another meeting, still public, but not everyone votes on it. Just the board votes on it for approving the budget and moving forward with that. Next, we have the staff Christmas party. Basically discussion on how we wanted to have it. Traditionally we've had a potluck here in the middle of one of the days. The board is invited, and there was some discussion. It makes sense to invite planning commission, zoning board of appeals, board review, that type of thing. Business can't be discussed. Like we'll make a notice, that all these people are going to be together, and they can meet each other, talk about personal things, get to know each other. Helps with a little cross communication and knowing who is who, but no township business happening, basically. Next, we had public comments, decent amount of public comments in the second one. The first thing I mentioned that there's a possibility of getting a .gov website. There's a bunch of restrictions on it. You have to apply, and then the feds have to approve you. They have that project on hold right now. I'm on the list to be updated in January when it's supposed to open back up again. I want to see if people were interested in that. Our website would probably come out to Dalton Township mi.gov because they want it to be pretty descriptive of what you are, and it seems reasonable, so I'll work on pursuing that. Next, Kim had mentioned that he was hesitant about the maintenance of government buildings moving forward because of the stuff he's seen with the county, and that makes a lot of sense. Karen had mentioned that the Historic Society now has a place in Twin Lake so they can accept artifacts and they'll be safe in their location. So that's working out well. Next, Greg mentioned the hobby situation in his property out there has been threatened by hobby, and obviously this huge ongoing saga that I haven't been able to resolve. And I mentioned, that if we want to escalate it in some way, I can look at options for private security escort or taking action against the sheriff. These are not things that I would particularly like to do, but I can certainly look into them and see if they make sense and if the board wants to move on them. And I mean a criticism could be made that I'm not aggressive enough on some of those things. So. Next, Parnell mentioned that if there could be a petition at the township for a community center. And so I sent a note to the lawyer. I'm not sure about petitions at the township. So I have to check that one off. I've heard about it at other places, but I don't know if it's legitimate in a similar way that the township can't have a billboard that says vote for whatever. And so I just want to double check on that. So I'll look into that. I think he said we should have a better setup for the projector, which Eric did message me. He's like, hey, do you have a projector? Do you want me to bring my projector? I said, bring your screen and everything, and it'll work out good, which he had set up here. And I think us having rearranged the room from last year where the big table is out in that room instead of in the middle here, it threw him off a little bit. Otherwise, I should have looked ahead on that a little bit, I guess, and cleared out a section of this room and made everyone sit against that wall. We could project it against that wall, but I did not do that. Rachel talked about the library, a bunch of events happening over there, which they do. They have a lot of stuff at the Dalton Library there in Twin Lake. And then Scott talked about how he returned a bunch of cans for the fireworks fund, and people are welcome to join him if they would like to help him return cans because it's quite a lot. So that was the meeting, and decent amount of stuff in the reference packet too, because I know these are some special interest items, and but I didn't want to make a board packet that is about 200 pages is probably what it would be if it was all together, which is why I invented the idea of the reference packet. And I think it works good, and that way it's posted online, everyone can see it. But the audit reports are all in here. The lake quality reports are also in here for North Lake, West Lake, Middle Lake, and Twin Lake. The budget report is in here because I want people thinking about that over the holiday. I know that sounds funny, but if you have some downtime and you're sitting on a couch and stuff like that, it's a good time to think over the budget. And finally, Michigan Public Policy, which is done by the University of Michigan. Michigan Public Policy Survey Report, which is kind of interesting about local government officials' faith in the government, which is very low at the national level and not very good at the state level, increases at the local level. Still, I don't know if it's great. So any questions, thoughts, ideas, comments, concerns, feel free to reach out. As always, direct line at the office is area code 231-332-6700 or email supervisor@daltontownship.org. Otherwise, that's Jeff signing off. Until next time.